3:03 or 3:05. The pressure is building all the time. They've gone through 37K now with a 2:53. So it is beginning to wind up. 5K to go, 3 miles if you want it in English terms. 37K, 1:48.10, 2:53 that kilometer. Although the winning time has dropped right outside 2:03 now. The projected winning time, 2:03. It matters not what the winning time is now. This is just great racing.
Yeah, it is. And one of the cool things that I read about with Steven Kiprop, who's in the lead right now, his favorite motto is train hard, win easy. So we'll have to see if that's what he says, if this is the race that he takes to tape in. Was the training hard enough for him to win easy?
I don't know about winning easy. The chances are a fine thing. But what a race building here. We're down to 5. It's gradually thinned out. Still looking okay at the moment is number 2, the pre-race favorite, Tadesse Tekle, the tallest of this group, the big fella to the left as we look at them front on. He's the former steeplechaser. Closed very strongly in the latter stages last year on Eliud Kipchoge. So has he got a big finish here as well? Tadesse Tekle, the 22-year-old, is he holding back as Kiprop and Kotut just sit at the front there? So it's 3 Ethiopians against 2 Kenyans, and the 2 Kenyans at the moment, Kotut and Kiprop, at the front and laying down the tempo. And this looks like a little acceleration. I wonder if they're beginning to sense a reason to work together.
Well, Alou there in the orange in the middle of the pack. He's been second in both of his races this year, in Hamburg and in Mumbai. And now we're seeing a big name drop back.
Yeah, Tadesse Tekle. He's hit the red line, and the others have gone through it and keep going. He has to stop. And Tadesse Tekle, with 5K to go, is struggling. And I don't know if he's going to make the roster this year. He is decelerating. You know, when they hit the blocks, it happens very quickly, doesn't it, these days?
It does, definitely. And you can see Kiprop and Kotut. Kotut looks very easy to me. He looks really smooth. Kiprop moving around a little bit. Magesh, right there, or Magesh, excuse me, not going for that final bottle.
Well, I wonder if they'll pay for that, because they've still got some 12 minutes or so of running to come. Down to these 4. They've gone through 37K with a 2:53. They're at the moment on Potsdamer Straße. They'll go through 38K at Potsdamer Platz, and then onto Leipziger Straße, and then a couple of zigzags before they get onto the Unter den Linden, and that last kilometer or so through the Brandenburg Gate towards the finish line. But who will lead through the Brandenburg Gate? Maybe we'll have 2 or 3 guys abreast. It's wonderfully poised. Kiprop at the back of the group for the first time in quite a while.
Starting to lose just a little bit of ground as Kiprop. He needs to get back up on the shoulder. If he looks, look at him, Tim. You can see there's a bit of change in pace for him and a little bit of change in form. He's not quite up on his toes like he was.
No, absolutely right. But Kotut looking up to the task, looking really strong. Cyprian Kotut, 32 years old, the most experienced of this pack, by the way. Not only did he win Paris back in 2016, but he's kept on winning. He's a serial winner. He won Florence in 21, Hamburg in 22. He was 2nd in Amsterdam last year. That 9th in Boston this year was a bit of an aberration. He's done his apprenticeship too. He paced the London Marathon back in 2014 and Berlin back in 2021. But as you mentioned, Gary Kotut trains with Evans Chebet, who was a Boston and New York winner in the same year back in 2022, only a couple of years back. And Kotut that looked like he was going for it. Now he seems to have slowed. You could literally chuck a blanket over these 4.
Yeah.
And nobody seems to want to break away and change the picture, so to speak, and really give it a go.
And Kiprop, just as we say it, looks like he's out of the picture. He's back up in there.
I know. Wonderful stuff. These 4 locked together, 1:53 on the clock, about 10 minutes of running to come. The 38th kilometer at 2:56, the 37th kilometer at 2:53. Very, very little wind this morning. Glorious conditions in this 50th edition of the BMW Berlin-Marathon as they approach the Mall of Berlin. And Berlin, by the way, what a place for shopping. If you bring your other half, make sure the credit card is left at home. And I didn't mention whether the other half is male or female before you jump down. Leave the credit cards at home, folks. Just come and enjoy Berlin for what it offers for free.
I was not expecting you to talk about shopping, but okay, here we are. But
it's unavoidable in Berlin. It's so great for shopping.
This is what I find so fascinating, though. Steven Kiprop back in 4th place when he was just, half a kilometer ago. Now he's in the lead and he looks better. And I think that's sometimes the type of athlete that you are. If you are in the lead, if you are in command, you get a little extra pep in your step. And he's like to be in the lead in this race. When he has fallen back, he doesn't look like himself. Now he looks like he's back and re-energized.
Absolutely. And maybe just a little bit more fire in his belly carry with that frustration of that knee injury that kept him out of the sport for more or less 4 years. He paced London Marathon back in 2019. We knew he had a huge potential. And then he had to sit things out with that knee problem and eventual knee surgery.
Mengesha's just sitting there again. He hasn't looked real smooth to me in the last few kilometers, but he's as tough as nails and he's holding on.
Now being tested is Alu in the orange and white rather, in the background. 3rd place in Hamburg, or 2nd place in Hamburg back in April with a 2:05. 3 marathons last year though. I wonder if that will have taken its toll. He ran 2:05 in Dubai and 2:11 in Lanzhou for a 3rd place, and then 2:08 in Amsterdam last year. So this is, I know the shoes protect the legs and athletes can do more races and recover faster, but you can't go to the world too often because, relatively speaking, you're still digging very deep in a marathon.
Yeah, and that was in 2023. 2024, this is already his 3rd marathon here too. So a lot of racing for Alu. But he's been fighting through. You can see he's had his ups and downs in this race, but he's still in it.
So his 6th marathon, actually. Yeah, you're right. He ran the Dubai and London. He ran Mumbai and Hamburg this year. His 6th marathon in less than 2 years. That's Alo in the orange and white, just behind this leading pair. As they negotiate these last few turns with 1:56 on the clock. They've gone through 39K. And it is gradually winding up. The last 3 kilometers are 2:53 to 37K, 2:56 to 38K, 2:55 to 39K. And Ayu looks like he's gone. Heyman Ayu is struggling as there is a definite acceleration going in here from Steven Kiprop. He may not make the rostrum. That's very frustrating for the 26-year-old. He's had such a good year, but maybe, as we said, Carrie, has gone to the world too many times. His 6th marathon, well inside 2 years.
Well, every time Steven Kiprop gets to the front of the pack, the pace gets faster, and that's when you see the likes of Alu start to move backwards. But we'll have to see what happens here again. If Kiprop keeps the pressure on, 2K to go.
There's the big left-hand turn off Leipziger Straße. Now they get a series of lefts and rights before getting on to Unter den Linden. 1:56.59 at 40K. 1:56.49, and that is a projected winning time of about 2:03.20, but they will accelerate from here. They'll probably get down towards the low 2:03s as Kiprop has another little glance over his shoulder there. Kotut is matching him stride for stride. And Mengesha, who, frankly, if you look at the last 30 or 40 minutes, has looked the most keen to get going, hasn't he? He's been at the front the most.
Yeah, he likes to be up front, it looks like, but he has been a real class act in this race. I think, he had a little bit of a jostling there with Candier and kept his cool. Then he got into the front, tried to drop him, and he did. I think he'll be proud of his racing so far, but can he get into the lead again? He keeps kind of cutting these corners short, and he's having to work his way back into his rhythm every time he turns a corner. It almost is that the other two around him take the corners a little bit wider, and I'm wondering if that's starting to bother him a little bit.
I don't know, but 40K done. some 58,000 runners behind them. This could yet prove to be the biggest marathon in history today, this 50th edition of the BMW Berlin Marathon, as we get to the real business end of this men's elite race. Kotut now hits the front. Mengesha still looks calm, matching him stride for stride. Cyprian Kotut, the 32-year-old, has got plenty of wins behind him, the youngest of 9 siblings. Last year's second place in Amsterdam was a personal best. It was his only race in 2024. He comes here pretty fresh, Kotut. 9th in Boston back in April, but that was many months ago now. And Kiprop beginning to drop back as he hit the blocks. Kiprop, who's looked so strong over this last half hour or so, has hit the front several times. It's been very, very hard to call, impossible to predict who would kick on and take the win, and it still is, because we're down to 2, but there's 4 men very, very close together. Carrie, place your bets.
I'm going with Mengesha. I think that he has been the one that's wanted to be in the lead, wanted to take charge over the first half of this race, and then now he's kept his cool, and he's been just sort of handling this race. He looks good, eyes down, but Kotut, he looks great as well. They both look good, Tim.
Well, Kotut with the armbands for warmth, looking strong with that slightly strange arm carriage, really wide and high arm carriage. Mengesha looks the more relaxed of the two, I have to say. Milkesa Mengesha just matching him stride for stride, and he's staying just about half a meter behind Kotut most of the time, letting the Kenyan call the shots, and then presumably planning to respond when it suits him. Will he get the timing right? 2 hours on the clock. They now have gone through 41K. That was a 2:56. The last 3 kilometer splits, 2:55, 2:55, 2:56. They have picked it up, and the gap back to Kiprop growing all the time. It's about 40 meters now with this leading pair. They take a left now, and this is effectively the finishing straight. They turn at 41.3K onto Unter den Linden. They're in the finishing straight. They can see the Brandenburg Gate ahead of them. The crowds grow in numbers, and these two winding it up all the time. The gap back to the pair behind them, and there's a great little battle going on behind between Elu in the orange, who moves into 3rd place, and Kiprop, who's really struggling. But Kotut and Mengesha now, not so close anymore.
Mengesha took that turn the way he needed to, and he had a little advantage with that turn, and now look at him. He looks smooth, but Kotut is following every single step of his and not letting him out of his sight.
Mengesha changes gear, cranks it up 1 more notch. Kotut slots into his slickstream, but apparently can't match it at the moment. Only a few 100 meters to run. The Brandenburg Gate beckons for this pair. It has been a marvelous marathon with incredible strength and depth. 40 minutes ago there were 8, and it gradually went down to 7, to 6, to 5, to 4. Now it's down to 2. And here we go. The Brandenburg Gate in all its glory. First passed by the marathon runners, passed under by the marathon runners in the 1990 edition of this race, when over 25,000 ran the Berlin Marathon. Well, this time, the 50th year of this astonishing race, the lead athletes pass through into the shade and out into the sunshine again. And it does look like Milkesa Mengesha, the 25-year-old Ethiopian, is going to take glory here in Berlin. The stride is long, the purpose is there. A little glance over his shoulder. Cyprian Kotut of Kenya, faster on paper, unable to do anything about it at the moment with a couple of 100 meters to run. He still looks strong, still looks in control. Mengesha, a world junior cross-country champion back in 2019, 6th in Budapest last year in the World Championships, has his day of days here in Berlin. A thumbs up to the crowds, the huge crowds here as he approaches the finish line. In the footsteps of the great Haile Gebrselassie, compatriot, the 50th edition of the BMW Berlin Marathon goes to Ethiopia. to Milkesa Mingesha, crosses the line there unofficially in
Where are you watching
2:03.17.
from?
Kotut second.
Where are you
Four
watching
is for
from?
Kenya. And Kotut celebrating, and Ayu rallies to take third
A win
place
for all of us.
Ethiopia.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Kotut
so much for
divides the
support.
two Ethiopians, and Kiprop finishing in fourth place. But again, in around
I
2:03.38,
appreciate.
that for
Thank
Kiprop
you.
is a personal best by
Kenyans,
well over
Kenyans
3
have
minutes.
subscribed
Fabulous
in
running
Ethiopia.
from these fellas. Indeed, all of them
Wow.
running big personal bests. The first four home, underlining these glorious conditions here in the German capital. And now
Wow.
the tears come. Now the emotion pours out from Miguel Kessa Mingesha. He's a great track runner. He's run 12:58 for 5,000, 27 minutes dead for 10,000. He's a great road racer over 10K and the half marathon. He won Copenhagen a couple of years ago in 58:58. He has all the qualities, all the armour he needed to win a race of this caliber.
It's a win
Indeed,
for all of us.
he's the fastest in the race as a 1,500-meter runner, as a metric miler. He's run 3:34, and he looked it. Every bit of him looked it in those closing few hundred meters as he strode out looking so relaxed to victory. Takale, the third placer of last year. Oh, he comes home now.
Thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in.
And it looks like fifth place for Takle behind Mengesha, Kotut, Alu, and Kiprop. And Ikeda, what a run from the Japanese. Superb stuff.
Thank you all for tuning
from
in.
Yohei Ikeda. He's
make
a
sure you
2:06
subscribe today.
performance
Don't leave
before
without
today.
subscribing.
And
We need you.
staggering to the
We
line,
need you.
Takeda. He's a Takale. And Ikeda crosses the line there, and that's a personal best for him by about 1 minute 45 seconds, something like that. We'll confirm it for you. Absolutely fabulous running from Ikeda. He finishes in fifth. Takale in sixth.
This will become one of us.
Well, the crowd roaring these athletes home as well. They should. There's still only 2:05.50 on the clock. And athletes pouring home, wearing 37. That is Sebastian Hendel of Germany. He's a 2:08.51 performer before today. That was 10th in Hamburg earlier on this year. Well, what a run he's had here today. Because if he's got a minute to go, he's going to smash his personal best by something close to 2 minutes. The World Championship qualifying mark, remember, 2:06.30. He's going to be just outside that. But this has been an incredible run.
Where are you watching from?
From Sebastian Hendel.
Where are you watching?
Make it, I think, into the top 10.
Where are you watching?
Just waiting for these
You
marks
love what we are doing?
to be confirmed.
Please subscribe, share, like.
Kiprop was fourth. Kiros, Alamariam Kiros was 50. Keda was sixth. Takale seventh. We saw him staggering over the line. Ruesom eighth in 2:05.37. On Chari, Enoch Chari ninth, 2:05.53. And look at Sebastian Hendel getting deserved applause from the tens of thousands of Berliners on the home straight. He will approach the line. He comes here today with a personal best of 2:08.51, and Hendel is going to break that by well over a minute. Enjoying his last couple of hundred meters and breaks the tape there as the winner of the German title, 2:07.32 unofficially. What a run from him. Sets a personal best by about a minute and 20 seconds. And the more favoured of the German.
Tell us what you feel about this.
Coming home. He too has had a brilliant run here. His personal best 2:07.14. He's just outside that. That was the third place in Houston back in January.
Before you leave, subscribe.
Well, Pfeiffer.
We need you next time. We need your support.
Finishing well here.
Thank
just
you.
outside the top
Thank you,
10,
Paul.
but crosses the line. Another really solid run from the German in second in the German Championship, 2:08.19 unofficially. We'll confirm these times for you, of course. Well, that is one solid run in his 16th marathon. Pfeiffer getting it right again and again.
Ronaldo achieved millions of subscribers in one day. Please, we have a dream. Let's make it 1,000 today. Thank you.
They continue to pour across the line and still inside 2:09. Philemon there, having a really solid run. Philemon Abraham. He finishes in
The power of
unofficially
the
about
people.
2:08.54. I can tell you that Sebastian Hendel's
Congratulations.
time, the leading German, is 16th place, 2:07.33. And behind him was Kipchumba, Philemon Kipchumba, 2:07.30. The finishing times in depth, quite astonishing here today.
More is coming. More is coming. Don't leave.
So
Keep
many
watching.
athletes finishing way inside
The life is not over.
2:10. And at
There's
last,
more
we can
time.
go back to the leading woman here today, Tigist Ketema.
Thank you for the support. Thank you for the support.
She
I can
has
see people
been running
subscribing. Thank you so much.
tons of female competitors in
Thank you
glorious
so much.
isolation today. Because she has won very comfortably indeed.
Thank you so much.
Just checking her splits. Ketema. Remember, she's the former middle distance runner.
Women marathon.
Halfway in
Those
2:15.
who are asking for women marathon, it's still running. Please don't
67.53.
leave.
Her
Let's keep
projected
Let's
finishing time
subscribe to this.
2:15.45.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
it has slowed a little bit, but projected finishing time at 40k, 2:16.29. She's about 6 minutes away from that at the moment. As Gobena continues to do a wonderful job as her personal pacemaker. She's eased her away from the rest of the pack, and it looks like she's heading for another clocking way below 2:20. Nice and steady her last 5 kilometers, all her clockings within
Tell us where we are
12,
watching
15, that sort of region. And I think she will necessarily have run negative splits, having got to halfway in 67.53. But we shall see. She would need to break 2:16 to do that, and that would need a significant acceleration of these last couple of kilometers. I don't think she's going to do that. She's at 40.5 kilometers now, but it matters not. She will be the winner of this 50th Bmw Berlin Marathon.
Keep watching. It's becoming big. We're gonna meet them. Yeah.
Very few athletes in history have got close to it. And what a race she has had. Still looking strong. There's real strength and power in that stride. Lovely rhythm.
Where are you watching from?
All she's had to do
Please subscribe.
is hang on to the coattails
We are
of Gobena there, her pacemaker.
We need you.
But all her splits through the second half of the race have been very, very similar, all in the 3:15, 3:18 range, a couple of 3:12s, a 3:10 here and there. But it's been metronomic running from Tigist Ketema. She planned
Sarah,
personal
maybe
best
then
today, that would be 2:16.07.
Yeah.
An improvement on that from her win in Dubai last January. Wanted a first half in 68 minutes. She went through in 67.53. That is almost perfect, just about as perfect as can possibly be. And she has a training group, which is possibly the best in the world. Get this, her training partner is Tigist Assefa, the world record holder in Berlin here last year. Amani Beriso, who won in Budapest, the World Championships last year. And a certain Tamarat Tola, who was the Olympic champion in Paris just a few weeks ago. Well, a crowd roaring her on here. Plenty of cyclists accompanying her. Elements of security to that after one or two rather horrible incidents in marathons over the years. Most famous,
This is
perhaps,
coming.
was in
It's coming.
Athens,
So don't leave.
2004,
Keep watching.
when the Brazilian runner
Right.
Nascimento was tackled by a mild Irishman. Halfway in the latter stage of the race, when he was, I think, in the lead, ended up taking a bronze medal. Well, this is a truly dominant run from Tigist Ketema today. Untroubled, constantly being ushered along by Gabena, her pacemaker, who you have to say has done an incredible job. Part of me, though, now sort of wishes he'd leave her to her own devices. He's continually gesturing for her to keep going, to push on. But actually, I think there's something glorious in the loneliness of the long-distance runner when you've been a dominant performer throughout a 42-kilometer journey. And these two fellas who have been great, their job is done. And there's a substantial part of me that wishes they'd step aside now and leave her to it. And the fastest time in the world this year is going to survive, but only just as she approaches the Brandenburg Gate. 2:15.55 is the 2024 World Best by Situma Sefa when she won Tokyo back in early March. It's the Brandenburg Gate this time for Tigist Ketema. She won Dubai at the beginning of the year. That was in early January. She's going to win Berlin towards the end of the year, the marathon year, in spectacular fashion. She made the fastest ever debut in Dubai back on the 7th of January with 2:16.07, be the 9th fastest athlete in history. Since then, she was a disappointing 7th in the London Marathon, which meant she wouldn't get selected for the Olympic Games. But my word, this is pretty spectacular. Consolation for Tigist Ketema. I can tell you that at 40k, her lead over Mestawat Fekir was 2 minutes 20. Fekir was battling away with Placina Mulati, but she is separated from the rest here by 2 minutes and more, and a class apart, quite frankly. As she heads towards the blue carpet, covering the last 30 meters. What a run this has been! Yet another victory for Tigist Ketema. It was her debut in Dubai that gave her victory, a 7th in London, but she's back on top of the lot here today in Berlin. The winner of the 50th Bmw Berlin-Marathon in the women's race is Tigist Ketema, the 29-year-old, 2:16.41 unofficially. And that is a truly dominant run. Definition of dominance when you ease away. Well, there's plenty of energy there. I tell you, it's got more energy than Tadesse Tekle had in the men's race. He was staggering as he crossed the finish line in that men's contest. Wow. Another Ethiopian name added to the list of great champions here in Berlin. She almost looks in shock, unable to smile, but I'm sure the joy is deep in there. Mark Milder, who took over as race director from his father, Horst Milder. What a family they have been to take this race into the 21st century. And here is the second placer. Well, it does look like Fekir. Mestawat Fekir is going to finish in second place. Winning time from Tigis Ketema, by the way, confirmed at 2:16.42. But second place here today goes to Fekir. And let's watch Fekir, the 24-year-old. She won her debut in Paris on the 7th of April. That was in 2:20.45. Well, she's going to run a massive personal best here today. She will join the sub-220 club. It's not as exclusive as it used to be, but it's still very, very special indeed. A brilliant run from the Ethiopian. It's a 1-2 for Ethiopia in the women's contest. Mestawat Fekir gets second place in 2:18.49 unofficially. That is a huge, huge personal best. Almost exactly 2 minutes personal best. Mulati taking third place. And she crosses the line there. It's time to be confirmed. Only Ketema showing on our computer at the moment is a confirmed home in 2:16.42. But Hosseina Mulati, not one of the favoured athletes, her personal best at 22-year-old coming here was 2:26.59. She's just broken 2:20. Fekir 2:18.48. That is a huge personal best for her. 2:18.48 in second place, and Mulati third, 2:19 exactly. That is just unbelievable. 2:19 exactly. Her previous best coming here today, 2:16.59. She's just taken 8 minutes off her lifetime best. Well, and Ayana, Aberu Ayana, 2:21.54 her personal best. She improved that by a minute and a half here today and more in fourth place. 2:20.20, 2:20.19, we'll say unofficially. That'll come up very shortly, be able to confirm that for you. But boy, oh boy, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4 for Ethiopia in the women's race. And Hosoda of Japan, Matsuda of Japan, Mizuki Matsuda, she's a 2:20.52 athlete. She runs a personal best here today by about 5 or 6 seconds, not by much, but a brilliant run for Mizuki Matsuda. In her 11th marathon, she's won 10 of the 4 of the 10, so 4 out of 11 now. But 3 times the Osaka champion, Matsuda, in 5th place here in Berlin. She won Osaka in 2018, 2020, and 2022. She was 5th here back in 2018. She finishes 5th here today as well. And is this Callie Thackeray? It is Callie Helga Thackeray of Great Britain. She runs 2:21.25 unofficially in 6th place. That is a big personal best for her as well. She looks off about her personal best, confirming for you that As she crosses the line now, still in the sunshine, 2:23.40 unofficially. Looks like she finished in 90th place there. It takes a little while to catch up with the events on the ground. 2:24 on the clock now. And the temperature here in Berlin at the moment well, it's only 7 degrees. That's just checking. It's gone up to 13 degrees here in Berlin now. So still glorious weather for marathon running. Not too warm, not too cold, absolutely perfect. Well, we have the men's winner ready for an interview now. What a run it was, what an incredible run it was by Mengesha. I don't know what his English is like, this 25-year-old Ethiopian lad who may be using an interpreter for this one. But he wins today. Very, very impressed with Mengesha. 2:03.17, personal best by over 2 minutes.
Well, congratulations, Mengesha. This was an amazing race. He was up in the front behind the Pacers the entire way and then took control. Can you have him explain to us what his race strategy was like going in today?
መጀመሪያ ከፔሰሮቹ ከሚያስወጡት ኋላ ሆነ ቆይተ ከዛ በጣም በጥሩ ሁኔታ ማለት እንዴት ነበር አላማ የነበረው ስትራቴጂ ከመጀመሪያውኑ እንደዛ ነበረው ያስበው የገባው?
እሺ እኔ በጣም አመሰግናለሁ። ለምን እኔ ለዚህ በጣም ፈጣን ሰዓት ለመሮጥ በጣም ዝግጅት አድርጋለሁ። በጣም ሰርቻለሁ። ለምን ቦታም ጥሩ ስለሆነ እዚህ ለመሮጥ በጣም ምኞት አለኝ ነበር። ለምን ትንሽ ቅር ያለኝ ከዚህ በፊት ለማራቶን በአየር ምክንያት 38 ላይ አቋርጬ ስለወጣው እሱ በጣም ቴንሽን ውስጥ አስገብቶኛል።
ባለፈው ዓመት
ግን እዚህ ደግሞ በጣም ዝግጅት አድርጋለሁ። እሱ ትንሽ ስሜቴ ስለተነካ እዛም ቦታ በጣም ፈራው እንጂ እዚህ ኬሶቹ ላይ በጣም ወስኜ ነው። ከዛ በላይ ቢሄዱ ራሱ መሄድ አቅም አለኝ። ግን እሱ ለንደን ላይ ትንሽ ቴንሽን ስለነበር ፈራውና እዛ ቆየው።
Okay. So he has been training very hard for this course. He knows it is very flat and he can run very fast times. But he was at the London Marathon prior to that, and he had to stop after 38 kilometers because he has some issues, and that's why he was very worried about that. But at the end, his preparations were well. He did it, and he's even capable of running much faster, he says. But it was good.
That is so amazing. I mean, what does it feel like to say he is the Berlin Marathon champion, and not only just the Berlin Marathon champion, but the 50th running?
ምን ይሰማል? አሁን የበርሊን ማራቶን አሸናፊ መሆን አንደኛ፣ ሁለተኛ የ50ውን የጀርመን ማራቶን አሸናፊ በመሆን ምን ይሰማል?
እኔ በጣም ደስ ብሎኛል። እኔ ቺካጎ ማራቶን ገብቼ ነበር ኒውዮርክ ቀጣይ የዛሬ 2 ሳምንት እዛ ነበር ያስገቡኝ። እኔ ደግሞ እዚህ ምኞቴ እዚህ ስለሆነ እዚህ ነው መረጥኩት። ምክንያቱም አየሩ በጣም አሪፍ ስለሆነ እዛ ደግሞ የ50 ዓመት ለማሸነፍ ደስ ብሎኛል። ለምን ያሰብኩት ተሳክቶኛል ስለሆነ በጣም ደስ ተሰማኝ።
He is really very, very happy. He had the chance to get in the Chicago Marathon. He was supposed to run there, but he knew the course is flat, the weather is nice, so he was really into Berlin, and at the end, he did it. So he is very happy.
Congratulations. We were so thrilled to watch him cross the tape. Way to go. Yay!
And their humility is always evident. That's a lovely smile. And that interview from Mengesha. There's the result, confirming the win for the Ethiopian Mengesha in the 50th edition of the Berlin Marathon, the Bmw Berlin-Marathon, 2 hours, 3 minutes and 17 seconds. It was a personal best by well over 2 minutes for the 25-year-old, ahead of Kotut of Kenya and Haymanot Alu in third place of Ethiopia. Kiprop of Kenya takes fourth, and Kiros of Ethiopia fifth. With the best of the rest, the Japanese Yohei Ikeda in sixth place, 2:05.12. Sebastian Hendel, the best of the Germans, 2:07.33. That was a big personal best for Sebastian Hendel. It was about a minute and 18 seconds off his lifetime best in glorious conditions in the German camp. A little bit of wind about. Look at those flags flying close to the top of the Hotel Adlon there in the background. And the winner of the women's race, well, in spectacular style, truly dominant style, was Ethiopia's Tigist Ketema in 2:16.42. And Carrie is now down with her. Let's get her reaction.
All right, the winner of the 50th running of the Berlin Marathon. Ketema, you are so new to marathoning. Tell me how today went.
እንኳን ደስ ያለሽ 50ኛው የበርሊን ማራቶን በአሸናፊ በመሆንሽ አንቺ ለማራቶን በጣም አዲስ ነሽ እንዴት ነበር በአጠቃላይ ሩጫው እንዴት ጥሩ ሄደ እንዴት ነበር
መጀመሪያ በርሊን ለማምጣት በጣም ደስተኛ ነኝ ሁለተኛ ደግሞ እግዚአብሔር ረድቶኝ ማራቶን ትሬኒንግ ሰርቼ አሰልጣኝ ጋር ተመካክረን ስለሰራ መጀመሪያ አሰልጣኝን አመሰግናለሁ ከዛው
So, in the first place, she is very grateful that she was able to run here, that she is in Berlin. She is very happy, and with the help of God, she is able to win this race. And she has been working hard with her trainer, so she wants to thank her trainer very, very deep. Many thanks to her trainer.
Well, congratulations. Way to go.
Still looks in shock, doesn't she, as the women's winner here today, the runaway women's winner Tigist Ketema. And just like last year's winner, the world record holder, Tigist Asefa, a middle distance runner, a former 800-meter medalist at world junior level and world class at 1,500 meters. Only 3 years ago, she ran just outside 4 minutes for 1,500 meters. Confirmation of that win for Tigist Ketema, 1, 2, 3, 4 for Ethiopia in that women's marathon here in Berlin. 2:16.42, the first 3 on the rostrum going under 2:20. Beruai and Marusa, the best of the rest there with Osoda and Matsuda. Fabulous running from the 2 Japanese in 5th and 6th, both of them just outside 2:20. And Bella Kajeta, well, she was the best of the Germans in 11th place. Kajeta, her time 2:23.40. Not a personal best for her, but considering the knee problem she's had, that's a really solid run. Lisa Waitman of Australia, 2:24.40, finishing in 12th place at the age of 45. That is only a minute or so aside the lifetime best for Lisa Waitman. That is fabulous running. This is the moment. These are the glory moments.
Please remember to subscribe, like them, don't leave me Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the love.
Okay, in 1:20.41. And she has a comfortable lead. It was 12 seconds last time we checked. Let's have a look at this women's race now. And in fact, nobody else through 25k as yet. So she has got a massive lead. It's grown substantially for Ketema this last 5k. Nobody else through 20k yet. The men go through 28k. Mengesha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 men in this lead pack. 1 hour 21 on the clock. They've got about 45 minutes of hard running to come.
So Tekele there now up in the front, and maybe just because it was through a water station, and it looks like he's going to settle back in. He has got no desire to be the one really pushing the pace right now, which maybe is what the story that is, that he's, you know, just kind of getting ready and into form at the right time here.
Yeah, it's so often the case, as I've mentioned, that the eventual winner is somebody who's just tucked in. You don't really see him much for the first half of the race or more. Tekele's kept a pretty low profile. Candier did too. Mengesha put in a surge just now, but maybe that was just heading for that drink station. He wanted to get his drink well. Wearing 3 there, that is Cyprian Cotut. To the right of picture is see them from behind. Cotut, a Paris winner back in 2016, coached by Claudia Berardelli, the Italian who has massive experience. Now he's the younger brother, Cotut, of a certain Martin Lell. Remember him? World Marathon champion in 2003, 3 times a London Marathon winner, twice winner of the World Marathon Majors title. I mean, Martin Lell was an incredible athlete, and this is his younger brother, Cyprian Cotut. Towards the back of the group there, to the left of the group as we look at them.
Yeah, we really haven't mentioned him, have we? He only ran 2:10 last year, was 9th in the Boston Marathon. So, you know, a little questionable there, how his training's going, how his body's feeling, but he is a 2:04.34 guy from 23, so he definitely has the wheels behind him to be the one to push this race.
This is exactly what the organisers anticipate as we see them to the map there, bottom left of your screen. They are in the bottom left to the southwest corner of the course at 28k. They've gone through Steglitz, and when they get to 29.5k, they'll take that sharp right-hand turn and then head north again back towards the centre of the city. They're on the homeward journey from then on. But this is exactly what the organisers wanted. There was no clear favourite in this year's race. They said it was really hard to call, and I love that. You don't want predictability in sport. You don't want predictability of the result. 13. That's to Jenny Magersa. We haven't seen much of him. There he is right in the centre at the back of this little group. He's only 19 years old. Chance of him here today getting an unofficial world under-20 best. That mark at the moment stands at 2:04.32. So can he get that? He's coached as well by Bmw Berlin-Marathon. There's so much knowledge in some of those groups. The athletes sharing their experiences and their thinking. And by the way, Magersa, I don't know if this is a no, man. He comes from Bikoji, the same town from Kenenisa Bekele's birth. So
don't you love that? Like, he has to just be so excited to be surrounded by greatness. You know, he's training with the Olympic champ, the world record holder on the women's side. He's born in the same town as Kenenisa Bekele. Like, I mean...
Where are you, Minnesota? It's like saying, oh, the world record holder is just down the street.
Yeah, I wish I could say that. But, I mean, to have that camaraderie and that excitement, you know, and just to see... I mean, this was him probably running when he was little, following the greats.
Well, it sounds like a cliche, but, of course, many of these East African athletes, the Kenyans in particular, ran many kilometres to school and back. Top track, 7,500 volunteers. I mentioned that earlier. 100 bands on the course. The medical team, 600 strong. They're probably the most important of the whole lot. And 1 million spectators. Well, knocking on the door of the million, I would suggest today. Look at them. There's so much of this course where the athletes do run through a tunnel of noise, a tunnel of enthusiastic support. It's great to see. 8 men battling out the latter stages of the Berlin Marathon. This could be one of those special finishes. 2 or 3 men, maybe 4, have gone to the front and just tested the others. Mengesha has gone to the front, so has Candier, so has Ketut, so has Kiprop. 23 at the back of the group. That is Kiprop at the moment, just tucked in at the back. And I think there's a slight slowing now, Carrie. Let's have a look at these kilometre splits. They've slowed markedly. It looks like they have in a way.
Yeah, their
Just
projected
checking.
finish now 2:02. I mean, that's, they've been running
Almost 2:03.
Yep, almost 2:03 pace. So
Yeah, do you know what? They put in that hard kilometre as soon as the pacemakers dropped out. Candier hit the front, accelerated. That was the 2:47, the quickest of the race. And then immediately, the 27th, 28th and 29th kilometres, all 3 minutes or slower. They slowed dramatically. And this now has become a tactical affair. The really quick times are slipping away, and we need to worry about that less and more upon the tactics being employed here. Look at them, 5 abreast. Nobody really keen to go to the front and push on, become the sort of sacrificial lamb and the target for the others. I think they're all trying to adopt that smart, patient game, and it could slow even more significantly. Yeah, he's having to go for water.
now just
there.
a plain water, which is really critical. He doesn't have his nutrients and the fueling that he needs.
But you know what? There they go through 30k, 1:27.21. But you're in charge of your own destiny, and you have to. You see these water stations coming up. He should have known it was a couple hundred meters away, and you start repositioning to get across and get your drink.
Tough
And
when
if you
they're-
don't, it's nobody else's fault.
But there's 8 guys in there. It's tough to get over there. That's where this sport becomes a little bit of a contact sport. And now they need to settle down, and Candier needs to sort of forget that. Can't let that get into his head and think about what happened, what did I miss? Eyes ahead.
Absolutely right.
Mengesha as well. I mean, just to be jostled like that, he needs to calm down. That spike in heart rate, that spike in energy can sometimes throw you off, and hopefully he can settle back in and they can just let that go.
The last kilometre at 2:59. That was the 30th kilometre, but they have slowed dramatically these last 4k after the very brief acceleration when the pacemakers dropped out around 25k. The 26th kilometre at 2:47, the quickest of the race. And then we've seen a series of kilometres out 3 minutes or slower, and that makes them the slowest kilometres of the race. So the story very, very clear from the statistics, from the timing figures. These fellas are all watching each other now. Nobody prepared to commit. And you wonder, Carrie, if it'll be somebody brave who goes out and tries to get a gap on this group, or if it is and will run away to victory, or if they will all just sit in there and we could have several fellas together going through the Brandenburg Gate.
Well, it's interesting. You talked about it. Sometimes when you have your debut marathon, you knock it out of the park, right? Because you've never done it before. You don't know the pain that the marathon is. But the top 4 men right here this is the 5th marathon for Mengesha. He is the most veteran in the top 4. We're looking at Candier. This is his 3rd marathon. Candier, he's run 2. I mean, it's interesting to know that these athletes haven't run that many marathons.
Yeah, relatively inexperienced. Bethwell Kemboy is there as well to ride a picture, wearing 25 on his back. We've hardly mentioned him. He's a 2:07 performer. He's been operating at a tempo way inside his personal best. He was 4th in Paris back in April with that 2:07.08. Now, how much longer can he live with this? And also in there is Heimanot Ayu in the orange strip, 2:05 performer from Hamburg back in April. He was 2nd in Mumbai back in January in 2:09. That's hot and sticky in Mumbai. 2nd in Hamburg with that personal best in April. He's had a good year so far. Well, here, no surprise, Marcel Hug comes home to take his 9th Berlin Marathon title. 1:27.18 for Hug. And looks like he's won that one very comfortably indeed.
David Weir in 2nd. Wow. He is always a factor, isn't he?
Well, that's brilliant for David Weir, because he was saying a couple of days ago that he's had a sore neck, a neck injury as a result of his efforts in the Olympic Games. The marathon there was so tough, he said, the hills and the cobbles. And De Bruyne winning the women's race, 1:35.23 in the wheelchair race, ahead of Scaroni and Scher.
Well, this is just the start. They have Chicago coming up, New York after that. A lot of athletes saying maybe there's some fatigue from the Paralympics, but they'll have to rebound quick. There's still a lot of racing left.
So 31 kilometers come and gone. That was at 3 minutes, the 31 kilometer split. So number 5 dropping back, and that is Kibiwot Kandie.
Wow.
Oh!
Any type of disruption in your race, and even just maybe that little bit of jostling over the water, threw him. He's not out of it yet, but he's definitely fallen off, and he has to regroup quick here.
That's a surprise.
Huge surprise.
Kandie Bombardier in the Kenyan army. He's the man who was delayed en route to Berlin, stuck in Istanbul. He missed his drink a few minutes ago at that 30k drink station, and I wonder whether or not that is playing on his mind, and this sort of accumulation of this misfortunes, Carrie, is taking its toll.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough to see travel issues and then that, but I think Magessa, he took off. He had a little bit of a surge there after that jostling, and I wonder if that wasn't a little bit of a strategy of his. He knew that Kandie was thrown off by that, and he took advantage of it, and if he didn't, it looked to me like that was a good strategy, and he's now in the lead, and Kandie is off the pack.
He is off the pack, but I'll tell you, Tadesse Tekele there to the left of picture with the big bob of hair, looking very comfortable indeed. Third here last year, he knows the course. He's a former steeplechaser, a big fella, massive thighs. I mean, he's a huge guy for a marathon runner from East Africa. He's kind of is the exception that proves the rule almost. Is Tekele.
He's just kind of hunting, isn't he? He's been sitting there. Didn't look real smooth to me through halfway, but looks almost better here as the race goes on.
And he hasn't had an international race since Berlin a year ago. He's had nothing. And we do know that when he was third here last year, he was very strong. Along with Vincent Kipkemboy, he was closing on Eliud Kipchoge between 30 and 35k. They couldn't catch the great man.
Is he making his way back to that pack?
I don't know if they're slowing again or what. They go through 32k there.
He's a dangerous man to let him get back in and just hang on. He has a kick. He's very good on the track.
Yeah, Kandie.
Yeah.
Just checking his card. Many times under 60 for the half marathon. He's won Valencia 3 times. That was one of, if not the toughest half marathon to win. But that's a worrying sign, Carrie. What, 1 hour 33 on the clock. They've got another half hour of running to come at least. And Kandie just struggling to get on the back of the group here. 13, by the way, Magassa towards the back of the group. He's the youngster, the 19-year-old. Won't be 20 until January. Bronze medalist. Well, I say bronze medalist. He was third in Dubai back in early January with that personal best of 2:05. Another drink station. I bet you, Kandie. Did he get his drink there?
No. And that may be why. Maybe that was...
It's almost like he's zoned out. Why didn't he try and get his drink?
I don't know.
That's weird. Kandie, right at the back of the group, has just regained contact. Mengesha.
Asking maybe for... Just watching what he's doing. He tapped Magursa, and...
Did he get a positive response?
I think he does have his bottle, so maybe just sharing a little bit there.
There was talk yesterday, wasn't there, at the press conference about how the statistics show that the majority of elite athletes throw away their bottle after a drink station within 7 to 10 seconds. And there's the encouragement from the men in charge, the experts on refueling, was saying, hang on to your bottle, just keep sipping it for longer into the kilometre after you've got your drinks bottle in your hand. Hold on to it, keep sipping, don't chuck it away. People sort of sip it and chuck it away almost by habit rather than by need.
Well, it takes some coordination. It takes a little bit of thought, and you know, it does not necessarily break your rhythm, but it is definitely something you have to practice in practice, learning how to drink, learning how to keep the fueling down. I mean, I think that's the big thing, is making